What's up guys, John here and welcome back to John Moon Studios. In this week's video, I'm going to be reviewing the sample library Chordophones from Frozen Plain. I've collaborated with Sam Window, the founder and creator of this library, so without further ado, let's get right to it. Alright, so I'm super excited to show you guys this library, so let's get right to it. We're going to go ahead and open up Contact, and we're going to pull up Chordophones. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the master patch, and let's go ahead and just take a listen to what this sounds like. Already that sounds amazing. And just for your information, I am not a pianist, so if I do make some mistakes here and there, please forgive me. So this is Chordophones. I'm going to go ahead and show you the front face of the interface. This is, I'm going to go ahead and turn off all of these instruments here, and we're going to hear what each of these sound like individually, because you just heard the entire 6 plucked strings all at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first one here. So this is the first strings plucked. Kind of reminds me of a sitar sound. We're going to go to the first, the pluctus 1. So here it goes. A little bit darker, adds a little bit of bottom into that. Pluctus 2. This kind of reminds me, kind of has like an electric piano kind of sound in there. Very cool. Pluctus 3. A little bit brighter. Again, all of these have very different timbres. I like it because that means that you can create something very nice, and it's super flexible. Just by manipulating the volumes of all these string sounds, you can get a really nice patch going. And then here is the last one. So this is the more patty sounding one. Very nice. So I'm going to go ahead and turn them back on. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and talk about is how you can actually change some of the volumes on this. So again, all you need to do is move this meter here on the right side of it, because the left one actually tells you the volume in like a stereo meter. So you can go ahead and, if I don't want that sitar kind of sound, turn it down. You get more of a little bit of the darker sound of the patch. This kind of gives it that nice bright sound to it. So you can go ahead and pan these left and right if you want to. So if you want some to be on the right, some to be on the left, you have full control of the panning across all of these instruments. So here we have, down here is a global tuning. So for each of the stringed instruments. So here you can actually knock it down a whole octave. So just imagine the creativity you can have creating some of these patches where you can make some, an octave higher, 2 octaves higher, some an octave below, and you could really create this really nice big sound just by pressing one key. So you have a lot of flexibility here. Okay, so the next thing we're going to go ahead and talk about is this section here. So this is the attack, decay, sustain, release. Another name for it, it's the envelope. So you can go ahead and control, the overall master envelope of the entire patch, or you can go individual, and then you could pick which one you want to actually alter the envelope to. So if you don't know what an envelope is or what these knobs do, I can go ahead and talk about that in a separate video. But it is there for those of you who already understand how to use it. It's there and ready to go. Next we have on the right is a reverb, but this reverb kind of works the same as Logic's Space Designer, where really, you have some patches that really alter the sound of the instruments. So I'm going to go ahead and play the instrument. I'm just going to play a chord here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. So automatically the tone, everything kind of changes, and imagine the craziness you can make with this. If you're a film composer, sound designer, then this is honestly a really good way to start getting some ambience in your film, or if you want to get like a special sound effect, then this is a way that you can go ahead and start playing around with some of these patches. Can really bring out the power of that. So we're going to go ahead and check some of the presets that already comes inside of Chordophones. So we're going to go ahead and load up the atmosphere preset. Again, already just straight out of the box, and you're already creating this insane atmosphere for maybe a scene or some kind of sound effect of whatever you're opening, a chest. You could kind of have a nice little sound effect coming up here. But again, you could play around with it. This one has the spooky preset in here. I'm guessing 4.5 means it's 4.5 seconds. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up the next patch, which is Bright Arp. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Alright, so the arpeggiation is being created in the effects panel. So if you check here in the effects panel, we have the arpeggiation effect here, and you can go ahead and change that. We'll talk about that later in the video. So now we're going to go into the chord pad. Let's see what this sounds like. Pretty nice. This really works if you're doing like some kind of sci-fi, maybe TV series. This really fits well under the dialogue. Let's go ahead and move into Distort Rhythms. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the volume. This again, the arpeggiation is coming from the effects section, and you could definitely use this. Has a little bit more grit to it, so this could be used for maybe like an action sequence or something. You could play around with the arpeggiation and get the exact flow or sequence you want for your scene. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the soft arp. Let me turn the volume down on that. Kind of has a dark overtone in it. Interesting. You create some really nice, I guess like horror thriller ambiances, just having that really dark overtone over the Kind of reminds me of old video games, especially like in the dialogue section of old video games where only their faces appear. Kind of have some weird thing like that happening under it. So here we have the soft attacks. Again, like I say, that these libraries, they're in an instant you just pull them up and they can create this vibe, have a really nice ambience in your films, in your film score, of course. Alrighty, so here we have textures. Let's see what happens here. Let me turn on the volume just in case. It's a little scattered. Let's see what's going on in the effects section. Oh, there's an effect called scatter here. So let's see what happens if I change the tuning on this. Well, you know the demon's going to get you now. That's super useful. Alrighty, next, wind chimes. If you can actually, now I'm gonna go ahead and see what happens if I move the envelope here, the attack part of it. Turn it up a little bit, it's a little soft. So just by moving one knob inside of a preset, you can see that it's nothing like when we started with it. So it started off like this, and then we got some crazy nice little pad sound. Oh, that sounds amazing. Kind of reminds me of an organ that has a rotator, like the effect in here, and you're just hearing the sound just coming in and out, in and out. It almost has like a breath to it. It's like breathing. That's beautiful. Alrighty, so we're gonna go back into the Chordophones master patch, and we're gonna play around with some of these effects here, especially some that aren't really commonly found inside of, or not that they're commonly found, but they have a different name here. So let's figure out what they do. So here we have a quantizer called Atomize. Very cool. Here we have an effect called Strum. So if I turn the sensitivity all the way up, instead of playing a chord and playing the individual notes of a chord, I'm just going to play the entire chord and it's going to go ahead and strum it for me, only going up. So I'm playing a C major chord. This is the note C, E, G. And it just plays it for me. And I can go ahead and right, I can adjust the speed on how fast it wants me to strum that chord. I could do only down. And then it has an up and down function. So it's going to go up first, and then when you play it again, it's going to go down. And it just kind of alternates in there. Pretty cool. Alrighty, so we're going to go, oh, well, we saw what scatter did. So let's see what sequencer is. Kind of like a gate. You can smooth it out, change how many steps, so you can really go crazy. You have 32 steps here. Oh, you could change also how it's quantized. So if you want an 8th note, quarter note, 16th note, triplets, dotted notes, and the parameters, you can move it, you can pan it. So instead of it being volume wise, you can actually pan it left and right in your stereo field. It's pretty cool. Let's see, it also has a low pass and high pass resonators. Cool. Alrighty, so let's see what we have here. Look, oh, I talked about the rotator. Let's see what this sounds like. I'm gonna put it fast. Very cool. And then you have like a basic EQ here. And we have a distance, so how far you are from, I'm assuming this was created with a microphone. Oh, here it says the distance between, down here if you read, distance between the microphone and the cabinet. So there you go. So those are the effects, echoes, delay, and then we have reverbs. So that's pretty much it for the Chordophones. As you can see, it's a very flexible sample library, and you can create some crazy atmospheres with this, almost straight out of the box. And just with, you know, like I showed you, with one knob being moved, you can completely alter a sound, and it just sounds amazing. So if you found the information of this video helpful, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your musician friends. Also, turn on the notification button so you don't miss any of my weekly videos. I will see you all soon.